everyone. This is
Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, thanking you for the gift of this time together. We ask for your guidance as we gather to discuss, plan, and make decisions. Fill our minds with wisdom and understanding, and our hearts with patience and compassion for one another. Help us to speak with clarity, listen with open minds, and work together in unity. May our efforts today be pleasing to you and bear fruit that honors you. Bless this conference, Lord, and may your will be done in all that we do. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Good morning, everyone, fellow members of Secretariat, prospective leaders and representatives, and also our live members. Today is July 16th. The Preventive Conference of 7 that advertised projects under fiscal year 2026 data, namely 26PA008, 26PA009, 26PA0011, 26PA0012, 26PA0015, 21, and 26PA0022. Before we proceed, I remind everyone that all statements made during this conference are for clarification purposes only, and any modifications to the bidding documents shall be issued through a supplemental bid publicity. This shall form an integral part of the bidding documents. At this point, I request the Secretariat to kindly place the bidding on the screen for the selection of our official observers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. The selected official observer from the DPWH accredited private group is the Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated. And the second selected official observer from DPWH accredited CSOs is the Concerned Citizens of Abra for Good Governance. And that is all, Mr. Chair, for our selection of our official observers.
Since you have an invitation of our official observers, I hope you are watching us from our YouTube channel. And once again, I request the Secretariat for confirmation of our attendance. And determining the overall.
I will now proceed with the roll call of attendance. The back members, Engineer Malaysia C. Tubali Junior, back chairperson. The back regular members, Engineer Noel P. Amador Jr., Engineer Lorna D. Bar. The back provisional members, Engineer Anthony P. Sumani, Engineer RJ B. Bumanga, and Engineer Paul Jacques C. Oyao. The back secretariat, Engineer Robert D. M. Uro, head of back secretariat. The members are truly Engineer Ziggy Demas Valdez, Sir Bdry Canilo, Sir Mario Roy M. Damon, and Sir Joel G. Sia. The PWG, Engineer Gary A. Dinan, head of PWG. The members, Engineer Edison C. Basilio, Engineer Chester T. Aguada, Engineer Rudy Isena T. Salvador, and Sir Belmore Perfecto U. Mendoza. And we have Ma'am Accountant Jonathan Chico. And from the implementing unit, Engineer Ivy G. Martinez, and Engineer Jana Rita B. Sher. Therefore, Mr. Chair, majority of the attendance of our back members are present today. Therefore, Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, madam. Since we have a quorum, I am hereby declare this private conference officially in order. And for our agenda for this private conference, and the items are as follows. Number 1, we have the basic contract data. Number 2, the questions comments from the leaders. and replies of the bank and other representatives of non-procuring entity. Number 3, requirements of the bidding documents. Number 4, documents to be submitted by the bidder, including technical and financial proposals. Number 5, the proposed amendment. Number 6, the criteria and procedure for the preliminary examinations of the bids, the evaluation of cost bids, qualifications, and award. Number 7, we have the other matters and announcements. And number 8, summary proceedings, including the bulletins and issue. To continue for our first agenda, but that will be discussed to us by engineers Jana Ricachera and Amy Martinez.
Good morning to everyone. For 26 PJ 008, Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system, asset preservation program, rehabilitation, reconstruction, or upgrading of damaged paved roads, secondary roads, Nueva Vizcaya-Pangasinan Road, kilometer 216 to kilometer 217, Baracbac, Santa Fe, Nueva Vizcaya. The total length of the project will be 960 linear meters. The approved budget of contract will be 29,315,720 pesos, and the project duration will be 184 calendar days. This shows the vicinity map of the proposed project, showing the beginning and end. Here's the geotag photo of the beginning and the end of the project. For the typical roadway section, normal ground, the PCCP will have a thickness of 0.28 meter thick, and the aggregate surface course will be 0.20 meter thick, and the width will be 3.35 meters. For the typical roadway section for super elevated, we have a proposed shoulder which will have 0.23 meter thick and aggregate surface course of 0.20 meter thick. And for the carriage way, it will be 0.28 meter thick for the The typical roadway section with RCPC, we have proposed grouted brick rock, which will have 29.80 cubic meters and 388.78 slow masonry slow protection structure. For the typical roadway section with single curb wall, we will have a 521.04 square meters of single curb wall. We also have proposed extension of RCBs. And we have the provision of road safety devices. That's all for 26PA008.
Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system. Asset preservation program, rehabilitation or reconstruction or upgrading of damaged paved roads, tertiary roads, Bambang-Kasibu-Solano Road, kilometer 268 plus 644 to kilometer 269 plus 018, and kilometer 270 plus 743 to kilometer 271 plus 241, Barangay Antutot to Barangay Macalong, Vizcaya. The project will have a total length of 872 linear meters with a full budget for the contract of 9,073,740 pesos with project duration of 135 calendars. So this shows the recent map of the proposed project, showing the beginning and the end of the proposed project. So we will have two sections. This is the geotag photo of the beginning of the project and also the end of the project. For the typical roadway section on normal ground, we will have 6.7 carriageway with PCC thickness of 0.28 meters and aggregate surface course of 0.20 meters. We will also have a proposed 1 meter width shoulder with thickness of 0.23 meter PCCP and 0.20 meter aggregate surface course. We will also have a proposed curb and lamp. Typical roadway section for the super elevated. Total of 6.7 carriageway plus widening, 1 meter width shoulder and proposed carriageway and curb and lamp. Typical roadway section will be global triple. Will have a 161.80 square meter proposed global brick wall. And we will also have a proposed slope protection. And this is the provision of road safety limits. That's all for 26 PG's resume. 26 BJ001, Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system, asset preservation program, rehabilitation or reconstruction or upgrading of damaged roads, tertiary roads, Bambang-Kasibu-Solano Road, kilometer 288 plus 142 to 288 plus 760, Papaya, Vizcaya. The project has a total length of 621 linear meter with a approved budget for the contract of 30,825,840 pesos with project duration of 180 calendar days. This slide shows the same map of the project showing the beginning and the end of the project. This is the geotag photo of the beginning of the project and the end of the proposed project. Typical roadway section for the normal ground, we will have a total of 6.7 meter carriageway with PCC thickness of 0.28 meters and aggregate surface course of 0.2 meters. For the typical roadway section, super elevated, we'll also have a total of 6.7 carriageway plus widening, and this also shows the proposed additional 2 linear meter RCPC and proposed stone masonry and block and repair. Typical roadway section with box culvert, green wall and maple syrup. So we'll have a proposed single barrel 3 meter by 3 meter by 2 meters single box culvert. So we'll also have the provision of road safety devices.
Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system, asset preservation program, rehabilitation, reconstruction, or upgrading of damaged paved roads, tertiary roads, junction, National Road-Bitnong-Belance-N Nueva Vizcaya along the river, kilometer 263 to kilometer 263 plus 630, Barangay Oyao, Dupax del Norte, Nueva Vizcaya. The total length of the project will be 630 linear meters. The approved budget of contract will be 14,026,740 pesos. And the project duration will be 120 calendar days. Here is the vicinity map of the proposed project, showing the beginning and end of the project. Here is is the geotag photo of the beginning and end of the project. The typical roadway section, we have 3.35 meters width for the carriageway, and the thickness for the PCCP will be 0.28 meter thick, and the aggregate surface course will be 0.20 meter thick. And we have proposed line canal for 282.50 linear meters. For the typical roadway section with RCTC, we have a gravity grip rock of 46.05 cubic meters. And here's the standard traffic management. That's all for 10-6 videos.
26 BJ0015, Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system. Asset Preservation Program, Rehabilitation or Reconstruction or upgrade of damaged state roads, tertiary roads, Pantabangan-Canili-Basal-Baler Road, kilometer 186 plus -507 to kilometer 186 plus -53, Barangay East Marikit, Alfonso, Castañeda, Nueva Vizcaya. This project will have a total length of 154 linear meters with a true budget for the contract of 8,925,840 pesos. The project duration of 76 calendar days. This slide shows the vicinity map showing the end and start and end of the project. This is the geotag picture of the beginning of the project and also the end of the project. Typical roadway section with RCTC normal plan. We will have a total of 6.7 carriageway with PCCP thickness of 0.28 meters and average surface course of 0.2 meters. We will also have a proposed 1.5 meter shoulder and additional 2 linear meter RCTC. Typical roadway section, super elevated. 6.7 meters with carriageway plus widening, with PCCP thickness of 0.28 meters and aggregate surface course of 0.2 meters. And use provision of the road safety laws.
For 36 BJ0021, organizational outcome, ensure safe and reliable national road system, asset preservation program, preventive maintenance for tertiary roads, Aritao-Quirino Road, kilometer 264 to kilometer 266, Bambang-Kasibu-Solano, Nueva Vizcaya. The total length of the project will be 2,000 linear meters. And the average budget of contract will be 54,087,285 pesos. And the project duration will be 109 calendar days. This shows the vicinity map of the project. The typical roadway section, the asphalt will have a 15 millimeter thick and we also have typical roadway section for inlet repair, which the PCCP will have 128 meter thick and the aggregate surface course of 0.10 meter thick. And also the asphalt overlay of 15 millimeter. And the standard traffic management. for 26 days, 021. And for 26 days, 0022, organizational outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system, asset preservation program, preventive maintenance, tertiary roads for Aritao-Quirino Road, kilometer 266 to kilometer 268 plus 370, Barangay Bambang-Kasibu-Solano. The total length of the project will be 2,301 linear meters. The approved budget of contract will be 54,027,285 pesos. And the project duration is 109 calendar days. Here is the vicinity map of the project. And here is the global photo of the beginning and end of the project. For the roadway section, the bituminous concrete surface wear course will have 50 millimeter thick. And the typical roadway section for inlet repair, we also have 0.28 meter thick for the BCCP and aggregate service course of 0.10 meter thick. And the asphalt will be 50 millimeter thick. And the provision of safety devices. That's all for 26 days, 0022.
Thank you, dear presenters. Secretary, I ask if there is any question from our live stream viewers.
None, Mr. Chair.
If there's none, let's now proceed to agenda number 3, the requirements of meeting documents. This will be presented to us by our secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the requirements of the meeting documents. From the bid data sheet for ITB clause 1.1, we contain the contract ID and the project title. And for ITB clause 2, you can see the funding source. ITB clause 5.3, the minimum required pickup license for the contract 26 BG 08, 9, 11, 12, and 15. The size range, the minimum is small b, the license category C and D, the allowable range of contract costs and up to 30 million. And for contract 26 BG 0021 and 26 BG 0022, the minimum size range medium A, license category B, allowable range of contract costs up to 150 million. And please note, DEO number 110, series of 2024, implementation of ISO 9001-2015 certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. And for ITB clause 5.4, the contract similar to the project shall be the major category of work for contracts 26 BG 8, 9, 11, 12, and 15 is RRP-roads rehabilitation PCCP. And for contracts 26 BG 21 and 22, the main category is RMA-roads maintenance-asphalt. And note, the above SLCC must be supported by an owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the constructor's performance evaluation system or CPES. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. And the qualifier for similar works with at least 50% of the item work of the project. And the bidder must have completed SLCC that is similar to the procurement project we bid and whose value adjusted to current prices using the PSA consumer price indices must be at least 50% of the approved budget for the contract to be bid. And please note, DEO number 164, series of 2025. This will be the detailed guidelines for the determination of major and similar categories of work and individual requirements for work experience in the procurement of infrastructure contracts. A for identity clause 8.1 and 8.4 subcontracting is not allowed. And for 12.1H, in compliance with section 82 of the IRR, all prospective bidders shall submit the following additional document. One, the latest General Information Sheet or the GIS reflecting the beneficial ownership information or BOI duly received by the SEC for corporations, partnerships, private sector organizations, foundations, and associations. And this requirement is aligned with the FIDES Advisory Number 2025-007. And for activity clause 12.1H2, the key personnel, the project manager shall have general experience at least 3 years, relevant experience of 3 years, and same also with the project engineer. And the project engineer must at least DPWH related provisional PE as per section 3 of DEO 169 series of 2025. The materials engineer also shall have DEO experience, general experience and relevant experience of 3 years. That is also minimum. Must be at least DPWH accredited materials engineer 1. And the last personnel is a foreman, must have general and relevant experience of at least 3 years. And please note the following notes for 12.1H2. And 12.1H3, please refer the minimum major equipment requirements for respective contracts. And 12.4, I think it was 12.4, indicates the ABC of the following of the contracts. Any bid with the financial component exceeding this amount shall not be accepted. And 50.1, bids will be valid for 120 calendar days from bid opening. And 60.1, these are the bid security shall be in the form of a bid security declaration or choose at least 2 from any of the following. Please refer to item clause 16.1. And item clause 17, all bidding documents submitted by interest bidders shall strictly be on A4 size bond paper. Each bidder shall submit 1 original and 2 copies of the first and second components of its bid. ITB clause 22.2b, LCRB as award criteria. And for item clause 30.3, the performance security shall be in the form of surety bond. And that is all, Mr. Chair, for the requirements of the bidding documents.
Thank you, ma'am. We now proceed to our agenda number 4. Ma'am, can you play the video?
Checklist of technical and financial documents for civil works. 1. Technical component envelope. Class of documents. 1. Legal documents. A. Valid PhilJet's registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages, in accordance with section 20.2.9.1 of the IRR-RA number 12,009. 2. Technical documents. B. Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid, and C. Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided under the rules, and D. Special P CAB license in case of joint ventures and registration for the type and cost of the contract to be bid, and E. Original copy of bid security. If in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration, and F. Project requirements, which shall include the following. A. Organizational chart for the contract to be bid. B. List of contractors' key personnel, e.g.,
project manager, project, engineers, materials engineers, and foremen to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience at C. List of contractors' major equipment units, which are owned, leased, and/or under purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor for the duration of the project, as the case may be, and G. Original duly signed omnibus sworn statement or OSSN. H. If applicable, original notarized secretary certificate and latest general information sheet or GIS reflecting the beneficial ownership information or BOI, duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, and I. If applicable, original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder, and J. If applicable, ISO 9001-2015 certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects. 3. Financial documents. K. The prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, NFCC. Class B. Documents. L. If applicable, duly signed joint venture agreement or JVA in accordance with RA number 4566 and its IRR in case the joint venture is already in existence or duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVA in the instance that the bid is successful. 2. Financial component. Envelope M. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form and other documentary requirements under RA number 12009N. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities and O. Duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid, and P. Cash flow by quarter. That is all for the checklist of technical and financial documents for civil works to be submitted by the bidder. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. Since there are no questions or comments from our live stream viewers and readers, therefore there are no proposed amendments. Now we proceed to the next agenda item. This is the criteria and procedure for the preliminary examination of the bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification. Ma'am Secretary, please read the video.
Bid evaluation for the procurement of goods and infrastructure projects. In accordance with Section 61 of the IRR Republic Act Number 12009. Section 61.1. Members of the BAC, its staff and personnel, Secretariat, and TWG, as well as observers, are prohibited from making or accepting any communication with any bidder regarding the evaluation of their bids until the issuance of the notice of award. However, the BAC, through its Secretariat, may ask the bidder in writing for clarification of its bid. All responses to requests for clarification shall be in writing. Section 61.2. For the procurement of goods and infrastructure projects, the BAC shall evaluate the financial component of the bids to determine the lowest calculated bid or LCB using the following steps. Section 61.2.1. The BAC shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria and considering the following. A. Completeness of the bid. Unless the instructions to bidders specifically allow partial bids, bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including, where applicable, bill of quantities, shall be considered non-responsive and, thus, automatically disqualified. However, when no price or a zero or a dash is indicated in a required item in the bid form, the same shall be construed that it is being offered for free to the government, except those required by law or regulations to be provided for, and B. Arithmetical corrections. The BAC shall consider computational errors and omissions to enable proper comparison of all eligible bids. It may also consider bid modifications if expressly allowed in the bidding documents. Any adjustment shall be calculated in monetary terms to determine the calculated prices. Section 61.2.2. The BAC shall evaluate all bids on an equal footing to ensure fair and competitive bid comparison. For this purpose, all bidders shall be required to include the cost of all taxes, such as, but not limited to, value-added tax, income tax, local taxes, and other fiscal levies and duties, if applicable, which shall be itemized in the bid form and reflected in the detailed estimates. Such bids, including said taxes, shall be the basis for the bid evaluation and comparison. Section 61.2.3. In case of discrepancies between 1. Bid prices in figures and in words, the latter shall prevail. 2. Total price per item and unit price for the item as extended or multiplied by the quantity of that item, the latter shall prevail. 3. Stated total price and the actual sum of prices of component items, the latter shall prevail. 4. Unit cost in the detailed estimate and unit cost in the bill of quantities, the latter shall prevail. And 5. Amount and price schedule and in the bid form, the latter shall prevail. Section 61.2.4. Bids shall then be ranked in the ascending order of their total calculated bid prices, as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications, to identify the LCB. Total calculated bid prices, as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications, which exceed the ABC shall be disqualified. Section 61.2.5. The entire evaluation process for the procurement of goods and infrastructure projects using LCD as criteria shall be completed 1/21 within 7 calendar days from the deadline for receipt of proposals. Post-qualification, objective and process of post-qualification. In accordance with Section 63 of the IRR of RA number 12,009. Section 63.1. The bidder with the LCB, MAB, or the MEAB, in the case of goods and infrastructure projects, or the HRB, in the case of consulting services, shall undergo post-qualification to determine whether the bidder concerned complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents. Section 63.2. Within 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the BAC that the bidder has the LCB, MEAB, MAB, or HRB, the bidder shall submit all the eligibility documents supporting its PhilJEF certificate of registration, platinum membership, its latest income and business tax returns filed for the preceding quarter, which should not be earlier than 2 quarters from the date of submission and receipt of bid, and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the bidding documents. Failure to submit any of the post-qualification requirements on time, or a finding against the veracity thereof, shall disqualify the bidder for award, provided that in the event that a finding against the veracity of any of the documents submitted is made, it shall cause the forfeiture of the bid security in accordance with Article 21 of the Act and this IRR. Section 63.3. During post-qualification, the BAC shall verify and validate the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all the eligibility documents supporting the PhilJEF certificate of registration, platinum membership, and all the other statements made, and documents submitted by the bidder with the LCB, MEAB, MAB, or HRB, using non-discretionary criteria, as stated in the bidding documents. These criteria shall consider, but shall not be limited to the following. A. Legal requirements. To verify, validate, and ascertain licenses, certificates, permits, and agreements submitted by the bidder, and the fact that it is not included in any blacklist as provided in Section 54 of this IRR. For this purpose, the GPPB shall maintain a portal which contains the consolidated file of all blacklisted suppliers, contractors, and consultants. B. Technical requirements. To verify and validate the bidder's stated compliance with the requirements specified in the bidding documents. C. Financial requirements. To verify and validate the bid price proposal of the bidder and, whenever applicable, the required committed line of credit in the amount specified and over the period stipulated in the bidding documents or the bidder's NFCC to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of the transaction. Section 63.4. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the LCB, MEAB, MAB, or HRB passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the said bid as the LCRB, MEARB, or MARB, in the case of goods and infrastructure projects, or the HRRB, in the case of consulting services, and recommend to the HOPE the award of contract to the said bidder at its submitted bid price or its calculated bid price, whichever is lower, or, in the case of quality-based evaluation procedure, submitted bid price or its negotiated price, whichever is lower. Section 66. Notice and execution of award. Section 66.1. The BAC shall recommend to the HOPE the award of contract to the bidder with the LCRB, MEARB, MARB, HRRB, SCRB, SEARB, SARB, or SRRB, as the case may be, after the post-qualification process has been completed. And that is all from the detailed bid evaluation until execution of award. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Ma'am Secretariat, for our agenda number 7, announcements.
For the announcement, we have scheduled opening of bid quotation on July 20, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. here in conference room for one goods and services under small volume procurement. The RFP number 2026-07-031, supply and delivery of various road safety signages for use in the repair or maintenance of national roads and bridges along DPWH Nueva Vizcaya second DEO jurisdiction. And for our next activity, opening of bids on July 21, 2026, 9:30 a.m. for 9 civil works projects. We contract ID numbers, basis PG 23, 24, until 27, and 23, 48, 52, 56, 57. And the opening of bids on July 22, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. for one civil works project. We contract ID number 26BJ0070, visa 2RF, amounting to 22,330,682.78 pesos. And schedule of opening of bids on July 28, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. for 9 civil works projects, which we discussed today, the private conference with the additional of 26 million, 58 and 59. Now, dito po na-translate si 58 and 59. Yan po na yung civil works project siya. And private conference on August 7, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. for 19 civil works projects, which is re-advertised 26 BJ 71 until 26 BJ 89, and the scheduled opening of bids of these on August 20, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. here in conference room. And that is all, Mr. Chair, for our announcement, our reminders.
Thank you, Ma'am Secretariat. All my fellow members, and just announcements. There being none, therefore we will now proceed to our last agenda. Agenda number 8, salary proceedings including individual claims, review. And since under agenda number 2, there were no questions raised, and under agenda number 5, there are no proposed amendments. The provisions stated in the meeting documents as posted in PDFs and the website are hereby sustained. And there are no further matters to be discussed, and I'll entertain motion for the government of this private conference.
Mr. Chair, I move for the adjournment of this procurement.
May I have a second to the motion? With this being properly moved and seconded, that is a private conference session. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is hereby approved. This private conference is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much for your usual participation.